And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100% agree. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big Sean McCarthy.
Well, hello to everyone. This is a special day because it is our 3-year anniversary. The Punk and I, Josh Thompson, and the Weighing In podcast has been around now for 3 years. And we have so many more years to go because we love what we do. And it's just fun to sit here and talk about MMA. Congratulations to you, Josh. You are 3 years old.
Yes. I act that way sometimes, by the way. And we've been blessed enough to have our trusty little sidekick podcast, Dave, kind of come along with us for the ride. He's been with me for a long time, man. He's actually not a bad guy. I've tried to get rid of him several times, but he won't go away. He's like a gnat. Just kind of keeps buzzing around in your head. I'm like, all right, you can stick around. You can be my friend. It's okay. So, but it's always. But before we go any further, not only is it our 3-year anniversary, but there's some big news that is going on this week. Everyone needs to remember this. We are going to be doing some great stuff because Podcast Dave is doing Train Alta in Austin, Texas.
Baby.
I am pumped. Because we got some thick boys from Thick Boy Studio that work for Brandon Schaub. They're also doing it. And what's funny, right, is they're all kind of around Podcast Dave's weight class. That kind of makes a little fun because that
hold on. Don't tell me, is Chin doing it?
No, he's not. That's the
battle because that way Dave could have beat up on the guy that you're always pushing on him. He's so perfect. Could have put him in his place, Dave, but that's okay, Dave. Have you not
seen Chin? Chin's like twice the size of Dave. He would smash Dave. It would be no contest.
Not twice the size of Dave.
Chin's like 6'3", so big.
He's
like
this.
He's still not doing Train Alta?
No, he's not doing Train Alta. He's not. Yeah. But he's got a couple guys. Schaub's got a couple guys doing it. Dave's been getting a little nervous, John. I'm just being honest. I sent him all the information, the location for the gym. It's hilarious. He's been getting a little nervous though.
First off,
I said
I'm
fun.
I'm gonna say this to my man, Podcast Dave. Dave, just do it. First off, you don't have to fight. I don't care if you fight.
Yeah,
I just know that if you go and you do this course that Alta puts on in just getting you in shape, prepared, learning techniques, you're going to fall in love with the martial arts. You're going to fall in love with being able to learn new things, and you're going to feel better about yourself. And in the end, if you want to do the fight because it's awesome. Mm-hmm. If you don't, then don't. I won't say anything, but I will be proud of you for just going through what they are doing as far as teaching people and getting you prepared and just bettering your life. It's your introduction, truthfully, into the martial arts, and that's unbelievable. I think it's great. Do it.
John, he is going to actually learn real techniques, and you know what? I think
he's going to whoop your ass.
No, that'll never happen. But what he'll be scared of, though, is that he may fall out of love with WWE because then he'll know what real stuff
is.
And that might be a problem.
Yeah, but there's guys out there. Look at your man DC. He knows real technique.
King Mo is the biggest
God.
WWE fan ever that I've ever met.
Him and Daniel are right like this.
I think King Mo's got.
You think he's more?
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna get because when I get into the DC stuff, after he did me dirty last weekend on Twitter, okay, I'm gonna
awesome.
go.
We gotta go.
He did himself dirty though. By the way, he didn't even watch the whole video. He got the clickbait material. He did that shit on purpose.
It was awesome.
Oh,
I just laughed
he did
my
it on
ass
purpose. That's if you guys don't know, there's some text threads too between us. I posted up between DC and I, and he's talking shit. He got mad because one day I said something nice about Paul Felder on our show. He's like, "You son of a bitch! What are you doing? What do you think? You're trying to get under my skin?" I was like, "Absolutely, I'm trying to get under your skin." I know how much it bothers him. Anyways,
God.
But I told Podcast Dave doing the Train Alta situation. I said, "Look." you're going to finally understand what it's like to be able to protect your wife and kids. Finally.
Ooh, that's a little cold.
He's all,
harsh.
he's all, I got a gun though, right? He's like, isn't that what a gun's for? I'm like, yeah, but we know you don't know how to use it. I said, that's the other thing. I go, now all of a sudden you live in Texas, right? You think you know how to use a gun? No, buddy, no. So no, I like to give him a hard time. Look, I think it's going to be fun for him. It's going to be a very eye-opening. It's not going to be what, they're going to show the basic techniques. They're going to show the conditioning portion of it all, too, what it's like. But Dave, you've been running hard, man. I've been seeing, looking lean. He posted a picture the other day of him from the upward angle, so it makes him look leaner. I get it. That's how women do it on Instagram. But he looked good. I actually had to throw him a little DM, be like, yo, brother, I'm checking you out. What's going on? I slid into his DMs.
Josh, why are you checking me out, man?
You looking
why are you
good,
sliding
dude?
into his DMs, man?
Hey, I gotta let my boy know when he's doing good. I appreciate. He looks good, brother. He got me a little motivated, to be honest.
I've been running, dude. You're out there hitting the pavement now. You've been putting in the miles. I really like that.
He's been looking really good. I've only been running around 3 every day. So he's been 5. I mean, he's been killing it. I mean, 8-minute mile is not really killing it, but I mean, here's some progress.
Oh my God,
there's some progress there. That's good.
Dave, an 8-minute mile is fine. Just telling you right now. Quality running right there. Perfect pace.
Don't listen to him.
That's where you're not killing yourself, but you're getting good work in. Good job. Stay with the 8-minute mile. I'm proud of you.
Jeez. No, Dave looks good. This is gonna be fun. I talked to Rich Chow, who handles the North American version for Train Alta, and they're gonna start doing they'll have some video footage and stuff like that. They're gonna follow Dave a little bit, so they can kind of get some behind the scenes footage.
Dave's gonna be a rock star.
Yeah, he's gonna go.
Yeah, baby.
Boom. I cannot wait. So it's gonna be fun. They got one of the media guys also too doing it. He texted me his name. I'm trying to remember his name. But anyways, he texted me his name. There's one of the guys that's doing it. Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. You're supposed to give the name once you do the dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah,
Jeremy Botter. Jeremy Botter.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's an MMA journalist. Been doing it for a long time.
Good.
I guess I'm sure I've talked to him a couple of times, but he's doing it as well. So, but I'd like to see a little action between Podcast Dave and maybe one of the Thick Boy guys, and we'll have that fight
Podcast
at the
Dave,
end.
Eat him alive.
That's
Eat him
right.
up.
I
got confidence in my man.
Hey, yo, Shub, if you listen to this, brother, I'll throw some money down on that.
That's right.
I got my guy. Guy. Only because I know he's in shape right now.
Hold on. He's got whoever is from Thick Boy Studios. He's got time to get in shape through the whole system. So
yeah, he does. He does. You're right. But Dave's already ahead of the game right now.
He is ahead of him. He's ahead of the curve.
For sure, he's ahead of the game. So all right, well, hey, that's starting on Wednesday, I believe it is Wednesday. It's in Austin, Texas. So if you guys need any more information, we can put it in the descriptions. I'll send it over to Podcast Dave. He'll throw it in the descriptions for you guys. You still got time to sign up. You still can start the course through Train Alta. Look him up on Instagram. But hey, guys, I'm pumped for Podcast Dave. I know
Dave,
I know
are you
Big
pumped?
John is. But that's
Are you pumped?
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot wait. It's gonna be just fun.
I'm just curious to see how the training is going to be. I trained at Tyson Griffin's gym one time, and he started yelling at me because I wasn't doing a position properly. I was like, dude, it's my first time ever doing this shit, and you're yelling at me. He's like, do you want a position or not? And I was like, I do, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
That's so
great. Tyson can get angry at times.
Yeah. He's a little firecracker, that guy, man.
Oh, he was, dude.
He's a little firecracker.
He's a stud.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into the fights, John. Go ahead.
Let's talk about the fights first here. Let's go right to the
about
main
him,
event.
John. Let's talk about him.
Let's talk about him. Yeah, there were a couple good ones in there. There were some ones that just
was
not really exciting.
The one that stole the show. Before we even get started, what was the one that stole the show?
Come on.
Hands down, Michael Johnson.
Yes.
Hands down, Michael Johnson. That was a great fight.
I didn't think he lost that fight. I thought he won.
I don't think he did either. Let's get into that in a little bit, but let's go right from the main event and work our way down.
I'm going to say it was malarkey. Oh, sorry.
That was well played.
Thank you.
My man.
Okay. All right. Let's go with the man, Rafael Fiziev, the guy who's saying, who's the best Rafael in the UFC? Well, he kind of proved it
Well, this show is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag is going to give you a little extra spending cash with your first initial deposit. And I got to tell you guys, if you guys have tried to withdraw your money from any of these online gambling sites, MyBookie now has actually started letting you pull your money out after you bet your winnings one time. So after you push your initial deposit in, you can pull your money out after you bet your money one time. After you bet it again, you can pull it back out and cash out because you have taken Big John and my advice, and you guys should know better by now that we always pick winners. Maybe. Always. Always is such a hard word to press. But look, we do such a great job helping you guys make a little extra spending cash. Right, Big John?
Yes, sir. All the time because we care.
Because we care, because you guys use mybookie.ag, use our promo code weighing in, and use that QR code right there that Podcast Dave's going to put up, and that will take you directly to our page there at mybookie.ag. Use that promo code and have some fun, and good luck.
This was a fight where, we talked back and forth before and said, look, Dos Anjos has got to get takedowns. And that's not easy against Fiziev, but if he gets the takedowns, he can win this fight. If he doesn't get the takedowns, it's going to be a difficult fight for him to win. And in the end, that's really what happened. I had him down 3-1 going into the last round.
Yeah, I did.
I thought Fiziev overall, he landed the heavier shots, the better shots. Not that, again, close rounds, but easily you could look and say that Fiziev was landing the cleaner, crisper shots overall. His takedown defense was actually, you could tell he is physically very strong. There were times that he did things as far as he would just yank the arm up, and he would do things at times you go, that's not great technique, but it works when you're strong as a fucking ox, and he's obviously very strong. I thought Dos Anjos actually had a very good game plan. You could tell it was, hey, we're going to wear this guy down. He was going in for the long haul. He's saying, I got 25 minutes to get rid of him. And just, I thought it was actually kind of getting close to working for him because you could see that Fiziev was getting, a little bit more tired, but he wasn't gassed out. And then comes the fifth round. I've heard all kinds of things, people saying, oh, that was an early stoppage. The only thing I will say with this, Mark Smith had the best view of what RDA looked like, not after the first shot, because if you look at the first shot that hurt him, take a look at his leg, and this is what happens when your brain gets short-circuited. He was trying to step back to gain balance, and his leg stayed, and that's why he tumbled like a building going down. And Mark Smith was the guy that was able to see what he looked like after that first shot by Fiziev. And obviously, we can't see it, but he knows, and obviously he saw something that, was not right. I'm not going to say it was an early stoppage. I'm going to say that, he allowed RDA to try to continue. Fiziev came in, put another shot on him, and it was more than one shot that actually landed it before he stopped it. And those can happen. You can get a guy, he goes out, he gets hit again, and he comes back. It doesn't matter. You saw that he was out. I'm going to say that Mark Smith did a good job in saving him. I haven't heard anything from RDA as far as, oh, that was a bad stop. He just gave, props to Fiziev as far as a good fight, tough dude. So I thought overall, I can't say anything bad about the way RDA fought. I thought he fought really well. I thought he fought smart. I just think that Fiziev at this moment in time, just a little bit faster, a little bit more power, a little too strong, a little too young. That's the difference when you start going from 30 to 37. Those things start to make just a little bit, and it's those little tiny, millimeter differences that make the difference in the fight, and that's what happened. But a beautiful knockout win by Fiziev.
Like I'm gonna be like literally splitting hairs and straws, whatever you want to call it. Okay,
Split
Josh
those
says,
hairs, baby.
It's gonna come down like little tiny things, like you said, John.
Yeah.
I use myself as an example, and I'm not trying to take anything away from RDA. I thought actually he fought really well.
I did
but
too.
What I mean by splitting hairs is I say, hey, he could have had a little bit more output in the first two rounds to try to get that pressure for Fiziev to start slowing down a little bit sooner instead of in the 4th and the 5th. You wanted to try to slow him down by the end of, like how Bobby Green slowed him down. Try to get him to slow down by the 3rd. Yeah, by the end of the 2nd or into the 3rd. Because then you could have kind of won the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. He didn't have enough output in the first 2 rounds to slow Fiziev down. That was it. He also didn't wrestle as much as I would have liked to have seen him wrestle in the first 2 rounds. That gets the arms blown up. That wears on the body. That takes away a lot of that strength and that pop on the feet. Those are the type of things. Because, like, and you guys, I'm speaking from experience. I was never the best wrestler. I was never the strongest. Definitely was never the strongest person. And I never had the most power when I was fighting people. I had to work around what my attributes were. And so I always had to, like, when I fought guys like Fiziev or guys that were fast and explosive or really strong, I would always clinch with them first, wear on them, hang on them, knee them to the body, and do whatever I could for that first round. Really try and make it a fast-paced fight. So then in the second, they weren't the same fighter. I knew my conditioning, my recovery, and all those things, and my output were going to be there. I always try to do that. Now, I'm not trying to say RDA should have fought like me. I'm just saying a little bit more. But at 37 years old, that's when I started noticing that things were a little bit slower. The output wasn't as much. The strength seemed like, you don't have that testosterone anymore that you had when you were 25, 29, 32. And let's just be honest, it's true. It's you're not as strong as RDA was a fucking savage and super strong when he was 28, 29, 30 years old. He's been doing this shit a long time. He is a phenomenal fighter. And last night, he showed all of those things. Even at 37 years old, he showed he still has a lot left in the tank. Yeah. Well, can he make another title run? I don't think so. And that's no dig on him at all.
No.
He's been around forever. He's been the champion.
And we're talking, it's this much is the difference.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing, John, is that when you're talking the top 10 guys, especially in this weight class at 155, it's hard because of the speed. The speed, and then like you said, the pop, the output, it stays there. Certain people, they still keep it. Certain people still keep it. Like Michael Johnson had a very good fight last night. A lot of output, super fast, all of those things. He's getting older in age as well. But RDA, his style has never been a lot of output. He's been good. He's had a lot of output before when he was younger. But it's not like the type of output that, like, say, like a Michael Johnson's had, where it's pop, 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 long jab, long jab. He's been the walk you down, big leg kick, combinations, pressure, make you break. That's his style. He's been that bully in the cage because he's so damn good. In terms of the stoppage, look, when the fighter is not complaining, I don't think it should be up to other fighters to complain for them. You know, I saw on Twitter last night people saying, "Oh, I think there was an early stoppage. If I was RDA, I would complain. I'd file." Hey, guys, he knows. He knew. He got up. He didn't get up and go, "Would you stop it for?" He got up and sat there going, "Damn, I can't believe I lost." He was upset over the fact he knew what the reality of it was. He got caught. That's how this game goes. It's unfortunate, but that's the nature of the beast when it comes to this type of sport. Okay, and for him, he understood the situation because he's delivered that to many of people. He's done that to a lot of people. And so the fact that it was done to him last night, he just sat up and goes, shit, back to the drawing board. And he even has very nice words and very complimentary to Fiziev afterwards on social media, was very respectful, as he is almost always. It's hard to see. It's hard to watch someone like an RDA start seeing a little bit of the downturn. But like I said, he still has a lot left in the tank. Look, you have guys that are still fighting that like are on their, like Cowboy just went. He knew what was going on. He doesn't love it anymore. The speed wasn't there. He just doesn't love it anymore. RDA seems like he still loves it.
Yeah,
there's certain guys.
He does.
Seems like he still loves it. He loves it. You got Joe Lazon, who's kind of on his way out as well. Jim Miller looks like he still loves it. Still looks like he still gets motivated. There's a fire under his ass. He keeps finding a win. He's finding that W, somewhere in there, and he's doing a great job. So as long as you still love it, I think RDA will be back. I don't want to leave this conversation right now without saying how great he is. I have to make sure that everyone understands. I was supposed to fight him several times when I was back with the UFC during that Nate Diaz time. And then the Pettis fight got offered to me, and I took that fight instead. But we were scheduled to fight. We were actually booked. We signed contracts and everything. And then they pulled that fight, and I was supposed to fight Pettis, and that fight fell through. But he is a stud. He was someone that I was kind of excited to fight, and I was concerned about too. He really he lit a fire under my ass, more so than Anthony Pettis did, even though it was for the title. Because I knew RDA was a dog. And I knew there was ways to beat Pettis. Whereas with RDA, I was like, shit, I don't know. I got to figure out a way to beat this guy. He can walk forward. He can put pressure. He's got heavy hands. He's got vicious, nasty leg kicks.
Yep.
And he's got wrestling. He's got good jiu-jitsu. I'm like,
good jiu-jitsu.
Shit.
He's got it all.
He's another version of me. He's not great anywhere. He's good everywhere. But I also got concerned because I knew he had a gas tank. I knew he was strong. He was a big SOB for someone. He looked like he cut a lot of weight, which he did at the time. That's why he fought at 70. Yep. And I was a guy that never cut a lot of weight. So I'm like, damn, how am I going to beat this guy in a 3-round fight? This is going to be a tough fucking fight. So I've got to give this guy his due. He's always been super respectful too. He's kind of quiet. When you see him in the halls, you see him in the elevator, you see him through. He's always very respectful, but he doesn't really say a whole lot, but definitely a dog when it comes to fight. I love always watching him fight. So I'm looking forward to seeing him back in there and making some changes. That's it.
There are guys out there with you classify. RDA is a fighter's fighter. He's a guy. He's, like you said, a dog. He loves the fight, and he's in the fight, and he doesn't give an inch, even when he is. And when we talk about being the hammer or being the nail, even when sometimes he's being the nail, there is no give in that guy. None.
No.
And that tells you exactly who he is. And, I hope that, he moves on and continues on in his career, because he is fun to watch. But I don't want to stop, this in any way without telling people, Fiziev, he's coming, man. He's getting better. And he's getting way better. He's not doing as many of and this is what you can see when guys are fighting better fighters. You watch that flash starts to kind of go away when they can play with the guys down when they're first coming up, and everyone's like getting all excited about them, and they're doing all these flashy different techniques. So they can do that because they realize, oh, I'm way better than you. Oh, I can do this. And you see when they're going against someone who's good, they slow those things down because they don't want to make the mistake that's going to give the opportunity to that good opponent to possibly, get one up on him and stuff. And so you can see that Fiziev is getting better and better. His takedown defense is outstanding. I think that his training with, Nick Lentz is doing a good job with him. And if there's a guy that you can look at, the Carney was not the flashiest fighter, but he was unbelievable when it came to being tough and good on the ground and good in the clinch. And now Fiziev is getting good at those areas and stuff, because you saw how RDA was able to take Paul Felder down, multiple times. And Paul had really worked on his grappling. He wasn't able to do it with Fiziev. And there was just that little bit of difference that kept him, upright for most of the fight. And so congratulations. Look great. You
know what? During that fight last night, the part that let me know that it was going to be a long night for RDA is when he had that, I think it was a single leg, he went to switch to a body lock, and he got hip tossed. I was like, ooh, this is not going to be easy for you. That was the turning moment for me in my mind. I said, you may not get this win. That's when I realized, I'm like, because I always thought, like, he's just wearing him down. He's got to have a little more output. Maybe he can press him to slow him down. But then when I saw that, I was like, oh, you're not getting these takedowns like I thought you were going to get them. I thought maybe like by round 2, 3, you're going to be getting takedowns a little bit easier and making them work, and it never came.
No.
Never came. Like, they never had the control, never had the damage you needed, from the top position to get the takedowns and to do the work.
Which gives you a lot of, you got to look at Fiziev and say, hey, this is a guy he wasn't slowing down. Because when you get tired, that's when you start to make the mistake that'll end up creating the takedown situation. And that's once they're already in the clinch. Little things as far as basic movement and balance and where you put your hands and stuff. He didn't make those mistakes, which is telling you he's thinking, he's in shape, he knows what he's doing, he knows what he has to do to stop what's occurring, and he's making it happen.
The other thing, too, is that people should take away is that Muay Thai guys have some of the best clinches, and just because they can't stop a takedown, that's a bunch of bullshit. Because they find ways to use their forearm to grab on the head and hang on the head, to stuff your takedowns, to keep you at bay, using the knees to make you pay every time you take you shoot a shot that is from too far away. All of those things are things to be considered. He is obviously a phenomenal kickboxer, and he was the head coach, I believe, at Tiger Muay Thai in Thailand. Muay Thai, yeah. So he's put his work in, and I've talked to several people that have trained MMA guys that have trained out in Thailand, and they've all said, you get one of these little 125 pounders, 135 pounders on your neck and your head, you ain't getting them off you. He's like, you can't shoot double legs. He's like, they just control you right into their knees. They push your body. They use your momentum. And it seems like that's kind of where he's at, because RDA was a beast always in the clinch, and Fiziev had answers for it all the time, every moment, every step, knees to the body, all of those things. He was controlling that clinch. He fought a fantastic fight, and now he's gonna, and I love this is the other thing we can't pass up. I love this call out. Justin Gaethje is a perfect fight. I love that call out. I'd like to see maybe the Dustin fight, because he is making his way up, and but I think Justin Gaethje and him would be fireworks. I'll take that fight all day long.
Okay, let's just be honest. And this is the whole thing about this is why it's called the human highlight. When you look at Justin, everyone that you put against, oh, that's a great fight. Oh, that's a great fight. Oh, that's a great fight. And that's because you know what you're getting with Justin Gaethje. He's going to come out and he's going to throw down. He's going to be who he is, and he's going to give you excitement. And that's
he doesn't have to worry about he doesn't have to worry about Fiziev trying to take him down.
No.
That's one thing, and it's so funny in Fiziev's interview. He goes, his kicks are shit, but they've got power. He's like, but they got power, and he throws them, and they're effective. You can't be mad at that. Like, that's the thing. They don't look pretty. When I first saw,
I don't care how pretty it is. Is it effective?
Exactly. That is the number one thing. I used to look at his kicks. I'm like, what the fuck are those? But then I'd see people going down with leg kicks. I'm like, oh, this guy's got some power.
Obviously, they're heavy.
He hits the same pot. He hits the same spot. He's got some pop on him, and they're obviously heavy. So it's like that's Gaethje, man. He's got dogs. Big power in his hands too. So that should be a fun fight if they make that fight happen.
Yep.
All right, let's move right into the next one.
Wow. Just gonna put it the way I thought Bahalo had the advantage in this fight. I didn't think he had the advantage that I saw. As far as he dominated this fight. Yeah, it was a decision, but Petrosian was in no position except when he was standing above him, throwing kicks at his legs and stuff. That was the only time he ever did really any damage at all. And that's the only time that he was ever in a position to actually, be in control of the fight. And as soon as, they would separate, boom, right back into the double leg, taking him down. The first two rounds had him down, had him in trouble, multiple times. I don't want to say I thought that Kyle Bahalo was going to win the fight. That was I thought he had the advantage, but I expected more out of Petrosian. I don't know why. After watching his fight, and this is why he fought Gregory Rodriguez, who is a goddamn beast on the ground. And right now, Gregory Rodriguez was watching that fight going, yeah, that's how I should have fought him, because he would have walked away with a win.
Yeah.
And Gregory Rodriguez's stand-up has gotten, really good, but his ground game is fantastic. And you look, and after watching him with Rodriguez, I was like, look, he can cause a lot of problems for Bahalo in this. And no, not at all.
Yeah.
Just wasn't there. And sometimes, maybe it wasn't his night. It just, things weren't working for him. He was tough throughout the fight, but he always was a step behind in this fight for the most part.
As well as I know that when it comes down to, it's a snowball effect.
Yeah.
You thought the guy was going to maybe fight you one way, and you lost a takedown, and you're like, shit, this isn't the way it's supposed to go. Who used to, a fighter that always kind of ran into those kind of guys, is a guy that I fought, was KJ Nunes. He wanted everyone to stand with him. Come on, let's stand, because he knew that was his one way of winning. Like on the ground, there was no wrestling threat, there was no submission threat. But he would always try to talk you into fighting him on the feet, especially during the fight, which fucking drove me nuts. But in that situation, every takedown I got, he started. You could just tell he started wilting a little bit more. And nothing against him. He was a phenomenal fighter.
Tough dude, yeah.
You knew that he's like, damn it. You can see the frustration setting in. I'm gonna lose again this way by just being taken down. But he didn't want to make any changes. You know, it really just came down to like, damn, it's a snowball. Like your attitude changes in the cage. You're not happy anymore. Like you start fighting a little bit more frustrated and angry, and you can just see it was working to his benefit. And this fight had the very similar feel to it. Every time Petrosian got taken down, he's like, shit. And then he couldn't get away. Got his back taken. It was like, spent the whole first round with Barhalo on his back. And he's like, shit, what the you know? And so when you get back up, you're like, okay, I got to wipe that round off. Then you get taken down again early in the second. And you're like, damn it. Okay. And then it ends up, you know, then you're like, okay, I'm down 2. You know what he's going to do, but you can't stop it. And then you're just, fuck, it's over already. It's like so fast. You don't realize fighters, not fighters. We know how fast the rounds can go in a 3-round fight. Even though people are at home going, oh, you had 3 rounds or you had 5 rounds to do it. It goes by so fast. You don't realize until you're going, damn, I lost the first 2 rounds already. And what the hell's going on? You need to get the, you know, and fighters and people at home are going, you got a whole round. You're like, yeah, but if you got taken down in the beginning of the 3rd round, you're like, man, I got 4 minutes.
How many times when you were cornering people, how many times did you have fighters that lost rounds as far as they thought it was the 2nd round coming up when it's the 3rd round? Yeah. And they're like, no, this is the 2nd. No, this is the 3rd round, dude. Third. You go. And they're like, are you sure? Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, yeah.
Well, that's why there's such a big, that's why you always hear sayings like, you know, I trained 10 weeks for this, leave it all out there, is because a lot of fighters, they train 10 weeks, 8, 10 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it is. And then they don't leave it out there. What are you going to do? You can't save it for later.
Nope.
Fucking let it all go. I use the Tony Ferguson fight in my situation all the time. It's because I got my ass kicked for 2 rounds. And in that 3rd round, I was like, fuck it, go for broke.
Yeah,
you're still going to have it.
After that 2nd round,
yeah,
that's the one where you go, man, I've done, what do I do? And when you come back out, and I'm going to give you props, you come back out in the 3rd round and you change it around and you become competitive in it. It's like, it says everything because, man, it's not an easy thing to do.
No,
and
because
we've got a couple fights in here that were like that.
And that's the thing. Fighters will sometimes go, look, I've already lost the first 2. Let's just get through this 3rd round and be okay with it. Like, I want to go back. And I was like, absolutely fucking not. Like that was the thing. Like, you need to have, there's a switch. At the end of the day, you have an L next to your name no matter what. That's it. It doesn't matter how you look at it. You have an L next to your name. So however you decide to fight that 3rd round, that's on you. And I'm not going to knock people for not trying to get after it. But I was like, there's just no way, man. Like, I lost the first 2 rounds. I didn't train 6 to 10 weeks or whatever it was I did for that camp, but also didn't train 20 years of my life to fucking just lay down at the end. And it's like, let's just get it on, especially at 37. I think I was almost 38 at the time. Yeah, I think I fought him in July. So I was about to turn 38. And it's just, I look at myself, I'm like, nah, this is what I want to do. You want to push yourself to be on. There was moments in that 3rd round when I fought Tony where, like, he had turned his back, and I just didn't have the energy to jump to the back and try and get the neck or anything like that. I was like, it just wasn't my night. But at the end of that fight, I got back in the locker room, and I think I've told this story, and I got in the shower, and I was like, I was so, I don't know if it was from the blood loss, whatever it was, but I was shivering. Like shit. And I had the hot water on. It was hot. It was a full shower. I turned every shower on to make it steam in there. And I was still shivering while I was in the hottest water. I think I was burning myself. It was so fucking hot. I knew it felt hot, but I just couldn't stop shivering. Yeah. And that's just, my body was in shock.
That's
and so when I got, and I'm not saying every fighter, if that's what you want to do, cool. But when the reason why I started this conversation is because at the end of the day, there's still an L next to your name. That's one. 2 is there is a frustration that goes along with it. And some fighters want to just kind of say, hey, 3rd round's done. I can go home, live another day. Great. You know, or just say, hey, I get that L, but I'm going to go out fucking trying my hardest. Yep. So not every fighter's that way. Sometimes they, you know, especially young fighters, they go, nah, you know what? I'm going to wait till the next one. So I had nothing to lose, man. I was 37 years old, about to be 38. I was like, fuck, you're old. Get over it. It's like, you old son of a bitch. It's your time.
That's
All right.
it.
Well, hey, next fight. This was a fantastic fight.
Oh, god damn. You talk about a guy that's fast, fun to watch as far as technique. And this comes with every Dagestani fighter, everyone with the last name of Nurmagomedov, whether they're related to the man or not.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to say, oh, he's going to be grappling, he's going to be shooting for takedowns. They're not all the same. And this is one of the things with a lot of Dagestani fighters. A lot of them come from a Taekwondo background. They really do. And they're really into the spinning kicks and stuff. Guys like Zabit, he has that background of stand-up and then learned wrestling along the way and became very good with the wrestling. Well, Said Nurmagomedov, this guy, that fight, I just want to say the whole thing. Douglas Silva de Andrade,
Holy
dude,
shit.
he's a tank.
Yep.
And a tough dude because he took a lot of shots, and it was we were bouncing back and forth on text, and at the end of it, I said, sometimes as the judge, you got to say, which guy would I rather be, and that was the real difference in this fight. Was I thought that Andrade fought hard, did a lot of things that were good, took a lot of big shots at times, but he's the one that took the damage for the most part. Yeah, he knocked Nurmagomedov down the one time. I didn't think that Nurmagomedov was that hurt from it. He did get knocked down. No doubt it was a clean knockdown. I still would have given Nurmagomedov that round based upon all of the shots that he laid on Andrade earlier throughout the round and the fact that I didn't think he was that hurt. But this was a phenomenal fight between two guys really going after it. And it really looked like Nurmagomedov in the beginning had that whole thing with the Ronda Rousey, won her first, so many fights, in the first minute, and it was this chance to tie it with the UFC with the third. He tried, you could see it right away, and as soon as Andrade clinched and put him against the cage, and he was kind of stuck there, he's kind of like, "Hey, you bastard!" but it really turned into it. That was an outstanding fight. That was the second best fight of the night, I thought.
Yeah,
it was really, really a good fight to watch. It was fun to watch. I thought there was good technique, especially by Nurmagomedov. The dude is good, and he's going to be a problem for a lot of people.
I agree with you. He's in 135 pounds, but so is the other Nurmagomedov, which is Umar. They're both at 135. So that makes for fun. I guess apparently they're like childhood friends, kind of, obviously same area. But the biggest thing is
they have similar styles.
They do. Like you have Usman, which is his Umar's little brother. Mm-hmm. So the two of them, and then you've got they've got that Taekwondo style background. That's why I praised Umar so much, because his wrestling wasn't great when he came into AK when he was 19 years old. It was good, but it wasn't great. He came from the Taekwondo style background, like you're talking about. And this style here, which the Said has, he's so fast. You can tell he's very quick with the kicks, the question mark kick, the side kicks,
beautiful,
the spinning kicks. A lot of these guys, even who's the one that is with Bellator, the Tiger, Magomedov. Even he has a Taekwondo style stand up. He trains with Zabit and Zabit's brother Kassan.
Yep.
And so, he has that style of a lot of spinning stuff, a lot of side kicks, a lot of spinning kicks, a lot of spinning back fists, all of that. So they have that different style, but I felt like Andrade, he just, in the first round, maybe even somewhat through the second round, he had a hard time figuring him out. Going, hey, what are you going to do next? There were so many different ways he was attacking on the feet.
Trying to figure out how to get within range, because when he was on the outside of that range, he was having no luck with anything, and he started ducking his head to get in there a lot and stuff. And I was like, God, you got to be careful with that. But look, super tough. That's the kind of fight that tells you, hey, this guy's a fighter. He'll fight, because he was having a hard time throughout. He never gave up. He never gave in. He never, in any way, tried to cede the battle, saying, "Oh, this guy's just too fast, too good. I can't get to him." He was always looking for his way to score and always looking for his way to get into him. So
even when he got in on the deep takedowns on the single legs and stuff, Said was hitting him, just kept repeatedly hitting him. and then he eventually dropped the leg, or he was able to, if he did get him to the fence, he was defending really well, making him pay, elbows to the back. Saeed was always working hard, but like I just said in the last fight, Andrade in the third round picked up the pace and had a very good third round. I don't know if he won it. I don't think he did, but it was still close. I gave Andrade the second round when he dropped him. You and I were texting back and forth. I said, I have it 1-1 going into the third. And Saeed looked like he was slowing down a little bit. He wasn't on balance. Andrade was able to kind of hit him and touch him sometimes and kind of knocked him off balance. You know, when he was catching him, throwing the spinnings, he started seeing the spinning stuff coming a little bit easier in that third round. I had it 29-28. I don't know if you gave him the second or the third, because Andrade did have a pretty good third round. So depending on how the judges scored it, I don't know which rounds they gave him, but I had it 29-28, but I still gave it to Saeed. It was a good fight, though. Like you said, it was the second best fight on the card.
Yep.
Next fight.
Chase Sherman against Jared Vanderaa. Like, you know, this was a good fight. Both guys fought hard, and it's one of those ones though you look at and you go, you watch both of these guys when they fight guys of their level, they put on good performances. They fight hard. You know, they take big shots. You know, Chase has had those moments where he's looked really good on his feet, and his head movement looked good in this fight, and he was doing some good things with Vanderaa. And then my problem is, I watch him, and then I know, put him up, that next step up, he becomes the punching bag. It's just there's a difference in levels. This is the level that he is at. This is the level that Vanderaa is at. They were perfect for each other. I thought they both put on a hard fight, tough fight. I thought it was a good win by Sherman. He, definitely going after him in the third round. I think they said the judges, I think it was like two of them had it even. One of them had Chase Sherman up, but he went after Vanderaa, put a lot of hard shots on him. Vanderaa at the end, couldn't, weather the storm of it, but it was entertaining. And going into it, I was looking at, this is one of those fights, just to be honest, looking at you go, it has no relevance in anything. There's nothing, neither guy's moving up, far. They go, this is a fight that, that their moms want to watch. And because that's really, who has interest in it. But it was a good battle, and it was a good fight by both guys. Chase Sherman, I thought, looked really good. The head movement looked good. Vanderea's tough as hell. It's just a matter of where do you go with both guys?
John, the heavyweight division is not a stacked division, so they're trying to keep whoever they can around.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing.
Well, because
these guys, and how
Chase
old is
has been
Chase?
in and out of the UFC,
but how
multiple
old is Chase?
Times. He's not that old.
What, 30?
32?
32. So, I mean, with heavyweights, they can fight a little bit longer, if they don't get knocked out every time they fight. They can fight a little bit longer. But that being said, Chase won the first round. At least that's the way I scored it. And then I had Chase losing the second, and he was losing the third. And what I liked was that he finally actually bit down on his mouthpiece and landed some shots and was able to get him out of there. That has to do with making sure, that you win that third round decisively. He was not winning that third round.
No, he wasn't.
That moment when he finished him. And but I would have to agree with you. It was a good fight. They're both at the same level. I had Vanderaa being a little bit more, especially in the first round, he had a hard time because Chase was a little bit faster and had a little bit more cleaner punching style. But as he started getting tired, as he started kind of getting hit with some shots, I don't know if it was a confidence or I don't know if it was just things started loosening up too much. He was opening up too wide when he was throwing his combinations. He wasn't putting as much output. There wasn't as much output, so Vanderaa didn't have to respect him as much. And all of those things start to trickle down to Vanderaa running away with the fight, which he was doing until that third round when he got caught. He was winning that third round pretty convincingly. He started taking over. Yeah, he started taking over. And I was like, holy shit. So I could see how the judges had him, the judges probably had him winning the round, Vanderaa, until that last finishing sequence. Now, in that last finishing sequence, we've talked about guys who pretty much, and we're going to talk about them later on in some fight news as well, fighters that get knocked out on their feet that don't go down. I know he ended up finally going down to his butt, but he took a lot of shots against the fence.
Boy, he did.
And the ref did a good job. He was really trying to give him every chance he could to get him, give him the moments that he needed to stay in the fight. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough, and then he finally just kind of ended up crouching down into a fetal position against the fence. But I thought for two heavyweights that there wasn't a lot to be relevant about. It was an entertaining fight.
Yeah.
It was. I would say it's probably in that third, maybe fourth area there for the best fight of the night.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have and I'm not taking a dig, but the fights just they weren't all that great last night.
Well, that's because you're talking about the next fight.
Yeah, but I go ahead, John. You can go ahead and run away with this because John's texting me, man. Turcios is great. He's this, he's that. He's fun to watch. Turcios is good.
I enjoy watching him.
And then,
just, my God, punching air. How many times can you punch air?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm looking at, and I've watched Ricky Turcios fight multiple times. He's a high output guy, and he comes at you've got to know when you're not hitting, or you're hitting arms, you're hitting shoulders, you're not touching your man, and you're getting touched. You gotta change up what you're doing. And Zahabi, obviously he's the brother of Frias, fought a very good fight as far as technical. He fought as a counter fighter, and it was let him come in. As he comes in, I'm gonna score my counters. That's what he did. It was boring. I'm just gonna put it out there. The whole fight was boring. It just wasn't a good fight to watch. As far as I'll give it that the technical side from Zahabi in his counters, but in my opinion, Turcios was giving him stuff at times, and it was like you've got to understand and change up. And I'm listening to Turcios's corner, and they're talking about, that you had a baby, he's, beautiful defense. And it's like, that defense is not fucking winning you the fight. You got to score. And it just wasn't there. And this was one of the fights that I went. It just wasn't a good fight not to watch, not fun.
Turcios I look at it as you're coming off winning the Ultimate Fighter. And we've seen in the past that the Ultimate Fighters, the winners, usually get fed fights that they're supposed to win.
Yep.
And this was a fight that he was supposed to win.
Yep.
And I don't know if he came in with just that arrogance of, I'm the Ultimate Fighter winner. I'm going to just walk through these guys, because that's kind of the attitude that I had seen when fighters do something that's out of their norm. When he started yelling, "Woo!" Yeah, and started doing that stuff in the cage. That lets you know that he's not focused on getting the win. I know there are some fighters that do that, but we've talked about guys like Kevin Holland talk a lot in the cage. Yeah, that's relaxation. I get it, but look at the fights that he's done that too much.
That's right.
He's lost.
That's right.
And in this fight with Turcios, he's not. That's not who he is.
Well, it all comes down to this, Josh. No matter what, you try to do two things at one time, you're not going to be very good at either.
That's very true. That's very true. I mean, it's so funny you say that because going through the process of, I had my gyms, I have the podcast, I've got Bellator, I've got, I'm doing other things. Got rid of the gyms because I wanted to spend more time working on this show. I want to spend more time creating more content for here. I want to spend more time doing more research on all of our fighters that we have for Bellator, as well as fighters that are, out there in the realm that we just haven't found yet. I love this game so much that I want to spend as much time dedicating to learning about the new up-and-coming fighters, as well as the ones that are in the UFC and in ONE and PFL and obviously in Bellator, and spending more time bringing knowledge to the show. You can't do all 3 and 4 things. It's the people that spread themselves out so thin that are never good at anything. Spread yourselves out thin, cool. Figure out which ones you're very good at and figure out which ones you're having the most success at. Now stick with that and do better at it. Get rid of the other stuff. Anyways, I don't think Turcios just, like I said, it looked like he got caught up in the hype and the fame, and not the fame, but the hype and the, I won the Ultimate Fighter. I'm going to win this fight just because of that. No, that's not how it works, man. Nope. It's a hobby. Always comes in. That TriStar, man, they always come in with a great game plan.
It was a great game plan.
It was boring, but it was a great game plan.
That's right.
Yep. All right. Now, to me, obviously, hands down, fight of the night. There was no comparison for any other fight on this card. It was a fantastic fight from beginning to end. I'm going to have to agree with you, John. I went with Michael Johnson. We were texting back and forth. I thought Michael Johnson won. When it comes down to it, though, it was one of those fights. They were so close, back and forth. I don't know, man. I'm not going to blame the judges. It was no way. Was it a robbery? It wasn't a robbery.
No, it was not a robbery. It comes down to the first round where you had Michael Johnson land a shot on Malarkey and hurt him bad. And then there's a little bit of, a lull because they go to the ground and it's where Malarkey's holding on to the arms and gloves of Michael Johnson. And he's trying, you can see Michael Johnson actually conversing with his corner, through cues of, I know I'm going to get up to, get him back on his feet, but he couldn't because he couldn't get his arms free. So it was hard for him to get up. Finally, he's able to get up. Malarkey has gotten enough time where he survived. And then late in the round, he hurts Michael Johnson and Johnson was in trouble. And it's a real question of who, if you equate those and you take those and you say they're even, then you got to go with who did better as far as doing more damage with the other shots and everything. It was close. I thought that Michael Johnson still won the first round. I would have given him the first round. He obviously loses the second round. And then in the third round, he comes back and he should have won that round. But it was a good fight. Malarkey shows he's just tough as hell. There's something about, he's got confidence in training with Volkanovski and he believes in himself. And I don't know how many of those types of fights that he can, they talked and Pearson said he was supposed to wrestle, I love the fact that you went after him. I love the fact that it was a great fight for me to watch. You can only do so many of those types of fights because you're taking damage in those. Johnson hit him with some big shots. He was able to survive a lot of them and he looked, tough throughout. Both guys did. Both guys, I actually thought at the end of the second, I thought Michael Johnson's done. He's in trouble. Yeah. And he came back in that third, man. I got to give it to him. He looked so good with the jab. The jab was the difference in that third round. He started relying upon it. He still got speed. You don't have to put a ton of power on it. You just got to keep on frustrating him and hitting him, and he did. Malarkey had his moments. This was just a beautiful fight by both guys throughout. Fun to watch. Both guys took some big damage. Both guys showed that they're dogs and they have no quit. This was just an outstanding fight. And like you said, I thought Johnson won, but I can't sit there and say it was a bad decision. It was close.
Yeah, I thought it was 1-1 going into the third, and I thought Michael won the third. I mean, but when it comes down to the judges, and I'm not going to sit here and say it was a robbery, it really came down to which angles the judges could see the fight and how they scored the shots that they saw. Yep. And what I do now when I'm working for Bellator and I'm up at the desk is you do all the time. I come running,
and you sit there near the judges.
I do.
One of them.
I sit next to one of them, and it's pretty much the same table, but it's always a different judge. And I actually sometimes will film what the judge is looking at on his monitor, and sometimes all he sees is an ass. That's all he sees. All you see is an ass. You see no opponent underneath. You see no shots being landed. You don't see shit. You don't know if it was a good elbow that landed. All you hear is the That's it. So as
those
a
are
fighter,
an indicator.
Yes, as a fighter, but you don't know if it hit his forearms. You don't know if it landed clean because you don't see anything except for the ass go up and down.
It's tough.
That's it. And so when you're looking at the other two judges, they have a better view. Now, I don't know what the judges saw in the third round, but I had it for Michael Johnson. I thought he fought a fantastic fight. And I'm not here to take anything away from Malarkey. No. He fought a damn good fight.
Hell yes.
Both of them, I would love to see them run it back because it was so damn good. But for both of them, you can only crash your Ferrari so many times, as Big John likes to say, before it ends up being a Buick. Yeah. And that's kind of how it ran last night. Is these two guys, they left it all out there. I loved every second of it. They were both kind of wobbly at moments. I thought that Michael Johnson's knockdown was more effective in the first than it was because Michael Johnson got dropped and kind of stumbled. He didn't go all the way down until he started fishing for the leg. So he was still there the whole time, whereas Malarkey, he got sat really to his ass.
Yeah.
And so that being said, I went with the Michael Johnson knockdown over the other one. And in the third, I had the cleaner, harder shots being landed. And I think also, too, that very last combination, I think is what I text you. He landed the harder, cleaner shot in that very last combination with like 10 seconds left. But I'm not mad. I'm not mad at how this thing was. It was never a robbery. And I can feel this way about it. And I'm going to feel this way about 1,000 more fights as we talk about more of them. This was a great fight. Yeah. Shit end, someone always got to lose. That's the problem.
That's it.
But it was a great fight. I was supposed to fight Michael Johnson. He's another guy I was supposed to fight. And he pulled out like, I don't know, 10 days, 14 days before, and I ended up fighting Bobby Green. And so that was a fight that happened. And but he was a guy that I wasn't concerned about in terms of his wrestling. I was concerned about in terms of his speed, because he had a good output. I knew, for me mentally back then, I knew I could break him. I knew he was someone that if you wrestled him enough, because at that time he was a different fighter. He's not the same fighter he is now. He's got great takedown defense now. Back then, it was suspect. As the people like to say, it was sus. So it was suspect. So it was he was fast. He would stop the first takedown, but he wouldn't stop the second and the third. He's gotten a lot better. Not only has he gotten better at takedown defense, he's fucking phenomenal at getting takedowns. His takedown was so fast last night. He turns the corner really well. He gets in so deep, he turns the corner. He's on their back before they're even sprawling. I'm like, holy shit. And so I'm glad he couldn't wrestle back then when I was supposed to fight him.
Well, he came in as a wrestler.
Something different.
But he came into the sport as a wrestler. It's just he didn't use it in the same fashion. It wasn't as, I don't want to say as smooth. He also didn't have the hands behind it back then that he does now. And his ability to use his hands has made his wrestling better. Okay,
so look, back then, but what I'm looking at is that back then he didn't know how to put the two things together.
That's right.
But he also didn't wrestle. He also didn't wrestle because he fell in love with his stand-up. He realized, I think, how fast he was in the gym and how he was able to touch people and piece. There's videos of him going with either Usman or with Jason Jackson. I think Jason Jackson be out there throwing down with all these fucking guys. Yeah. Even the Luke Rockhold one is like famous too. But then you got the Michael Johnson one with him and Jason Jackson. They're just going after each other. I'm like, man, you guys, these guys are throwing dogs at each other. And Michael Johnson fell in love with his power and got away from his wrestling during that time. And sure, maybe he had good wrestling, but MMA wrestling is different than real wrestling, especially when there's punches being thrown at your head. Oh, yeah. But I'm not going to take anything away from Michael. I thought he won the fight. Malarkey, I'm not going to take anything away from him. Great job, young man. Great job. But like John says, careful how many times you crash that Ferrari, my friend. Yep. John, before we get in, like, how many more of these fights you want to talk about?
I want to say Cody Brundage looked good. I give him credit. He fought, Trias and Gore, who's known for power, having big hands, and Cody Brundage gets the knockout. It was, a little bit of an odd knockout the way it happened. But Gore got so hurt in the stand-up. He had the moment where he was on the ground where he was able to slow things down and then got mounted. And as soon as he got hit again, and this is what happens when you get hurt. Only takes a light shot to put you out, and he got put out right away. So, but good win by Brundage. Courtney Casey against Shevchenko. I'm just going to tell you right now, Courtney Casey, that was your fight to win. And a lot of people are going to think that you did win it. But when you go back and you watch it, you gave her so much respect. If there's one thing that people have seen in fighting Antonia, is she doesn't do well when people pressure her. She has a hard time with people that come after her, put pressure on her, crush that space, and then try to take her down, and that's how they get their win against her. Where she does very well is people that allow her to be on the outside range, control range, and just do her kickboxing that she is good at. You let her have that kickboxing range for over 2.5 rounds, and that's why in the end you lost this fight. You were the better fighter. You should have won this fight. When you decided to just become a dog and go after her, you won every second of that fight. I'm sorry. This is where people have to learn about. Sometimes you have to just be mean. Sometimes it's, style-wise, you just say, I have to walk through this person. They can hurt me. Okay, I still have to do it, and I'm going to do it. And when Courtney Casey was doing that, she was winning this fight, and a lot of people are going to complain that, she didn't win it. Nah, I can understand where the judges went, and they said, look, she lost the first round easy. She lost most of the second round, started coming on at the end of it, not enough to make it up, and then she easily won the third round. You should have fought that way after the first round. Once you felt her, saw where she was good, felt the power that she had, understood the range, just you got to start to walk through it.
How many females give her too much respect because of her sister?
And you know what?
Antonina.
It might be because she's not her sister.
No, we all know that.
Not even close.
But sometimes I think fighters think like she has a trick up her sleeve because of how well her sister fights.
Yeah.
It's not fair. But the other thing too is it's not fair to judge her because she's not as good as her sister. It's not fair to judge her like, oh, we have this expectation that she's supposed to be. But someone actually sent me a message and they said, what is with her? Why is she not as good as her sister? I said, look, two people are different. Okay, I don't know her. I don't know if she has kids. I don't know if she has a job. I don't know what she does. If this is like a side training job. I don't know if she's got a husband. I don't know those things, or if she has a wife. I don't know any of those things. I don't know. But I'm saying that when you have two people, I don't care if they're brother or sister, you don't know what their life situation is. One may be working a full-time job and taking care of, two kids and a husband or a wife or whatever they're doing. And the other one is dedicated only to that, to their craft. That's it.
True.
You don't know what the difference is. It's like saying like, how come Amanda Nunes is better than her wife?
Yeah.
Well, they have different circumstances. They're different people. So when people ask me that, I'm like, they're not the same. Sure, maybe they have the same bloodline, same DNA, whatever it is. They're not the same, though.
It's one of the tough things that when you have a brother and you have certain ones, you have the Diaz brothers. They're both very similar, very much, the same type of fighters, same type of fight style, everything. You had the Lozon brothers, Dan and Joe, both had different careers. The Lima brothers. Take a look at, Douglas and Diego.
Yeah.
They do things a little bit different careers. Just because they're your brothers and you're related doesn't mean your fight career is going to be the same.
That's very true. Any of these other fights down here you want to talk about? I wasn't really impressed. I thought the one guy, Kennedy, thought he fought against Carl. He looked good.
I thought he fought smart. I don't
even want to try to butcher this guy's last name. Sorry, man. I'll just call him Kennedy.
Nenjuku.
There you go. Whatever. Kennedy.
But he's good.
He's good.
He was coming off a loss. He's so long. He's got a lot of talent, and I think he's at Fortis MMA, and Saeed is his coach, and I love Saeed as a coach. He's fantastic. I think he's doing a good job with him. I thought Carl Roberson came in there. He had his idea of how to win that fight, and Kennedy just took away all of the elements that he thought he was going to be able to do, and by doing something that I don't think that Carl was ready for, in that he didn't expect him to wrestle him, to take him down, and that he was going to be having a guy on the top position on him throughout the fight. He carried that weight for over 2 rounds. Into the third rounds, instead of going after the choke, he opened up with big elbows. And I always tell people, you want to get a referee worried, start elbowing someone in the head. So
with Carl, right, nothing against he was outmatched last night. Let's just get beyond that. He looks like he should be a middleweight.
Well, he's tried, and he has a hard time making that weight.
He's so lean.
He was light for the weight, and I think he weighed in at like 202.
Yeah.
So when you see someone come in a little bit light like that, it tends to make you think that, he could go down, but he's had problems in going down to middleweight. So he just needs to figure out, where he wants to be in his fight style, what he wants to do. He's got good coaching.
He's lean. I think that's a big problem. He carries a lot of muscle, and he's got
a lot of muscle, big legs.
Yeah, and
big lower body.
You can see his abdomen as he rubs down, like he goes down into his lower abs. He's freaking ripped, and you're like, man, where are you gonna get the weight from? But I looked at him last night. I'm like, against Kennedy, I'm like, you're way smaller than Kennedy.
Yeah, not
even by a little bit.
I mean, you got Kennedy's 6'5".
Jeez.
I want to say he's 6'5", and he's got a freaking long ass, 80-some inch reach, 83-inch reach. He's got a reach almost like freaking John Jones. I think is 84. Wow. I mean, anyone's gonna look kind of small comparatively, but
it's like me when I tower over Podcast Dave.
There you go.
At 4'4".
All right. By the way, guys, I don't tower over fucking anybody. If you've ever seen me next to Podcast Dave or fucking Big John, like I look like their fucking dwarf son. So bad. When we did the video shoots in Hawaii, John,
I know.
I was like, I looked over. I was like, "What the fuck?"
We need a box.
I was like, "Are we really? Am I really that much smaller than you?" They're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh shit, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing."
Not embarrassing.
Oh man,
Just vertically
well, hey,
challenged a little bit.
that's gonna wrap up our UFC talk. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that little bit of content about the UFC last night. And it is literally 4 a.m. when we started this show. Well,
Ooh, yeah.
ready at 4 a.m. Some of us took a little longer to get ready. Laptop problems, Mr. John McCarthy.
I don't have a laptop.
Jeez.
I got a damn base now. We had so much lightning storms and unbelievable, dude. I got 3 inches of rain in like 30 minutes. I've never seen so much water come down.
You're not convincing me ever to move to Tennessee with all the way that you hear the
phenomenal.
rain on your
Did you
on your
not
tin
see-
roof.
Chris Cyborg put out something on Twitter as far as I don't want to see your selfies or anything like that. Show me something. And I had just taken this picture of this double rainbow after this unbelievable storm. And I said, well, here you go. And so it's like,
It was nice.
I get those.
Yeah, if you guys don't follow Chris, man, she always has like some enlightening stuff to put. She puts up some good stuff. She's pretty active on social.
Yep. And happy birthday to her.
Happy birthday. I'm trying to figure out when the hell she trains because she's on social all the time.
I think someone's doing it for her.
Smart. Well played.
Smart, yes.
Oh. All right, well, let's talk about, we've already talked about a little bit about the controversies of fighters, not controversies, the issue sometimes of fighters staying on their feet when they're knocked out on their feet. And it just so happens we have a video that we can actually have podcast Dave put up of Bigfoot Silva, who is still fighting, which is probably should be against fighting anymore.
Well,
Not only that, but he's fighting in boxing, which is not where he is good at. He's okay. He's not great. He has slowed down quite a bit. The problem that I have, John, with this as we show this video here is that he's one of those fighters. I had a friend that was very similar. He's a really top-level kickboxer. But he got knocked out a couple times, but he never went down. He's a guy that stays on his feet and just took more shots and more shots. So unless you had a ref that really knew what the hell they were doing, they would take 6, 7, 8 more punches, too many punches that eventually just ruins them. And from fight to fight, that would consistently happen. And in this situation, I heard he just got knocked out like a couple weeks back. And now he's back again. I don't know how. People were on Twitter going, he just got knocked out like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and now he's already back. And I said, yeah, and he got knocked out again in this fight where he stayed standing and just took unanswered blows for, let's say 10 of them at least. So what do you got to say, John?
What I got to say is this, is when you're going to get all kinds of different views on this. Bigfoot Silva has basically been shut down in North America as far as fighting.
Jeez.
Based upon health concerns. Your regulators have looked at his medicals and said, hey, you shouldn't be fighting anymore. That means that there's things that medically they're seeing, that the ringside physicians are seeing when he turns in his medicals, that they're saying we're seeing problems. Now you have his management. So his management then goes and says, okay, we can bypass the regulatory bodies by going to places like Russia or other places in that area, and we can do fights without having regulation. We can do fights where it doesn't matter what your medicals say and you can still get paid. So is his management doing him a favor? I guess in the moment you can say yes, they're doing him a favor because he's getting paid and he's able to pay his bills and stuff. All I'm saying is you're going to see Bigfoot Silva not having a long life, and you're going to see him having just a plethora of problems coming, and we've seen it with too many fighters in the past. Pugilistic dementia is real now. We also call it now CTE. All right, but these things are real. And when you've got things like chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is a real disease that fighters, football players, people in contact sports get all the time. We've had a ton of people lose their lives based upon they take their lives knowing that they have issues. They just don't know how to deal with those issues. That's what we have when you're talking about Bigfoot Silva, and he should not be fighting. I know it's hard to sit there and say, oh, well, then what does he do? I don't have the answer for that. I really don't. But I do know that every shot that he takes is taking days off of his life. And when you watch this, you watch the shots that he takes, don't even look at all of the shots he takes. I want you to go all the way, Dave. Go to the point where he finally decides, after the fight's been stopped, he tries to move. And we're talking about a professional athlete that moves like an 85-year-old man. Because he takes these shots. Finally, this guy stops it. He's stuck in the corner. He didn't go down. Watch him start to walk. Now, and he's using, what's he using? He's using the ropes for balance, too. And watch him walking away. A professional athlete does not walk that way. A professional athlete doesn't need ropes for balance. He's taking too many shots. He is, if I don't know how to say it, if we were able to see the damage that man's brain has taken now from combat sports and now is continuing to take because they're allowing him to fight in other places, it's a tragedy that his management, his team are still allowing him to fight because you're not doing him any favors. You're killing him.
There's a, I don't know how to say, I'm going to try to put this the best way I can. I didn't take a lot of damage throughout my career, at least not until towards the end. I think, I had some damage in the Hermes Franca fight. I had some, the Eve fight was one shot. It was on the neck, not even so much on the head. And then the Tony Ferguson fight. I didn't take a lot of damage throughout my career. Yep. And I can tell you guys that I've been blessed enough to where I can still hold a conversation. But there's moments where I'm like, fuck, what was I just saying? And it's not, and I'm not trying to be a smart ass. And we know everyone says, oh, I left my keys. I don't know where they're at. No, I notice it a little bit differently than most. You're aware. And like I said, one of the biggest things for not just athletes is to be honest with yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, it's time for me to quit fighting. I'm slowing down. I'm taking too many shots in training and then in the fight as well. It's not even so much the shots you take during this fight. It's the shots you take getting ready for the fight as well in training. So all the guys you train with, those guys are piecing you up as well. So there's a lot of times that you understand, like, I'm not cut out for this anymore. So all that damage you're taking throughout, it's not just the prep, it's not just the fight, it's the preparation for the fight that allows you to take that much damage. And when you get into the fight and you get knocked out the way he's been getting knocked out, he's gonna end up having serious issues.
Yes.
And I agree with you, John, that I would blame a lot on his management. Stop booking him fights. Stop. You're not doing anything for him. And I want to know that you've gotten to that point now as a manager that now you're just a greedy fuck.
Thank you.
And that's really what it comes down to is, why are you booking him fights? Does he need money? Find him another avenue. Get him autograph signings. Do whatever it is you can do to help him that way. Get him sponsors that will pay him $500 a month for him to do autograph signings or YouTube videos, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. Do something else, because right now you're complicit on helping kill this man. It's gotten to that point, and now you're just a greedy piece of shit. And that's where the line needs to be drawn. And sure, you're taking him to other countries, and maybe he thinks you're helping him, but in reality,
you're not.
I think it's gotten to the point where he doesn't understand what's going on. Like, he thinks, oh, I just want to keep. Maybe no one's ever sat him down and told him, like, hey, you really can't do this. You can't do this anymore. Your time is up. It's over. And as a fighter, that was like, I've noticed, and I still to this day, I will be having a conversation with someone, and it's the whole conversation is gone. You're like, huh? What were we just talking about? Like, and it's a shitty situation to be in. But like I said, I've been more blessed than a lot of other fighters. I look at a lot of these fighters that we've all admired for years, but they're gonna have a lot of problems later on.
Oh,
and these guys that have been barn burners of fights.
Oh,
yeah.
We just did talk. I always had my thing of, hey, if you get knocked out 3 times, it's time to start looking for your next moment in life. What's coming next? Because those 3, that's about the limit where you're not going to have really lasting effects. Once you get past it, you start to really have these giant chunks of your life that start to get infected by the damage that you're taking being that professional fighter. And how many times, if we looked up how many times Bigfoot Silva's been knocked out, I mean, it's way up there, and it's crazy to think that this is still occurring.
John, I got knocked out by Eves back in like 2003 or 4.
That was called a brachial stun. You got hit on the nerve of the neck, and that's really what caused it. I think your brain was still there. Your body just couldn't move.
I don't think my brain's ever been there. But that fight, and then again, like when I looked at Hermes Franca, I got dropped in that fight. And then when I fought, and then I never really took a lot of damage. So I took some damage in a couple of the, obviously in the Gill fights. A lot of damage in those fights. But it wasn't super bad. It was like little abrasions here, fat lip, little tiny stuff.
That's superficial.
But there was a lot of shots being delivered. I mean, I had bumps on my head.
How much your brain is getting rattled.
So, and I had lumps on my head. In the second Gill fight, I couldn't sleep. I had to sleep sitting up with a neck roll pillow. And the same thing with the Tony Ferguson fight. I took a ton of damage in that fight. I knew the time had came when I fought Patricky and I got dropped with a headbutt. And when I went back and watched the fight, it wasn't a hard headbutt.
No.
It wasn't like he hit me, bam. We actually hit face to face.
Yeah.
It wasn't like his head hit me right in my, we both just collided face to face. He had the harder noggin, and that's really what it came down to. He sat me to my ass. And when I realized I've ran in like head to head against a lot of these other guys in training.
Yeah, you do all the time.
Banged heads all the time. You bang heads, never been dropped. And in this situation, I got sat, and the rest of it was history. Once you get rocked, it makes it easier to get knocked out.
Yep.
I just realized it was time. Like, that's only 4 times. That's only 2 times I've been knocked out. 2 times, if you could say 2 times. Yep. There was some damage in the process. The Hermes Franca fight, I got dropped in the 3rd. The 3 Gill fights I took a lot of damage in those, but like all you said, superficial, but it was still, there was a lot of shots in a 5-round fight. And then the Tony fight, and those fights, I'm feeling these effects. And I had a lot of fights. I had a lot of fights before I even got to the UFC. He is getting knocked out over and over and over again.
Roll that up. Let's see what we have here.
It's 12 knockouts.
Oh, Jesus.
He's been knocked out 12 times?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Knocked out? And what about TKOs?
Well, it's 12 is a combo.
That's all part of it.
12 that's what they're saying on it?
Yeah,
okay.
So, I mean, if you want to go down the list, knockout, TKO. And this is just MMA, so this doesn't include any boxing.
Okay, yeah. Oh, and hold on. That's not all of his fights. That's not even close to all of his fights. They're missing so many fights on there that are being done that are the fight you just watched. That boxing match, that's not on here.
Yeah, boxing's not on
no.
here.
Yeah.
And he's got a ton, and he's got 12 already.
Wow. Interesting. All right. Well, I mean, we're definitely not ending the show on a negative Nancy situation. I can't end like that. But his management needs to stop booking him fights.
Yeah.
Someone needs to file a lawsuit against them, get them to stop. It's fucking ridiculous. Next, what else you got for us, Dave?
All right, let's talk about a couple of fight announcements. So, first fight is Sean Brady versus Belal Muhammad.
That's a good fight. That's a good fight.
People were criticizing this fight. I called for this fight 2 months ago or a month and a half ago, whatever it was.
Who the hell is criticizing this fight?
Everyone's like, oh, 2 guys that just fucking wrestle and snooze fest. And I'm like, this fight's going to be really good.
This fight's going to be great.
Yeah. Look, what, not Gary Tonin. Who did he beat?
Which one?
Sean Brady beat,
that's
not
a good
Paul
guy.
Craig.
No,
it was in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Craig Jones.
Jesus, man. Josh,
there you go.
Together. See, that's the moment I'm talking to you guys about. See, forget shit like that. It's like right on the tip of my tongue. We've had Sean Brady on the show. He is an absolute stud. Belal Muhammad is a stud as well. He has coming off that great win over Vicente Luque. Sean Brady, stylistically, this is a good matchup for him because on the ground, Sean is the better grappler.
Yep. More
Sean
complete
maybe
grappler.
even equally as good of a wrestler. On the feet, I would give the slight edge to Belal. Slightly. Only based on the fact of what I just saw him do to Vicente Luque in the way that he is able to still punch, move. It's a very frustrating style to have to deal with someone like if Sean Brady's trying to walk him down and throw combinations, he doesn't know where the punch is going to come from. He doesn't know when Belal is. It's a very unorthodox style of fighting. It's almost like fighting like a Keith Jardine, someone that's herky-jerky. You don't know where it's coming from. And then next thing you know, you're getting hit and you're like, shit, and they're waking you up going, what happened? Like, you don't know where he's coming, whether he's going to wrestle, whether he's going to throw strikes, whether he's going to kick you. You don't know. It's a very unorthodox style of fighting that Belal has. But his bread and butter is his wrestling, his ground and pound, his top position, his control. He's going to have a hard time against Sean Brady doing that because Sean's so good on the ground. So this makes for a very fun fight. I think you may end up seeing two guys who neutralize each other on the ground. And Sean's able to stop the takedowns, and there's a threat of a big enough threat of the submissions that Belal may end up having to keep this on the feet. And on the feet, I think it makes for a fun fight where you make two fighters that are not as comfortable in their areas of expertise having to stand and bang. And that should be a fun fight.
Yeah. You said it all. It's exactly the way I look at it. I think Sean his wrestling is really good also, but his jiu-jitsu is fantastic.
Yeah.
His stand-up is good. Belal, his wrestling is his MMA wrestling is really good.
Yeah.
His submission game, it's okay, not bad, but he's not going to submit Sean Brady. His stand-up has become much more difficult to deal with based upon he is now not a flat-footed fighter coming just forward looking for the takedowns. He's got good movement. He's moving in and out, and he's circling out a lot, and he's creating this. He's not just giving you that target that you can go towards and try to attack. He's making it difficult for you. So I look at it exactly like you. I think it's a great matchup. I think this is a fight that the UFC should have put together. It's perfect. Not maybe perfect if you're Belal where Sean's ranking is comparatively to yours and stuff like that, but you got to take this fight when they give it to you, and he did.
Especially after a fight where you beat Vicente Luque. You're like, okay, I'm ready. I should be in that conversation against Colby Covington.
Yep.
I should be in that conversation for the title. And now
You
you're
wanna
having
go
to
up.
fight. Now you're fighting Sean. I gave Sean a lot of flack for kind of gassing out a little bit in his last fight. It looked like he got a little tired. The anxiety, he was pumped. It was his first time, being in the, up at the very top when it came to, being on the card. In this fight, he's going to have to temper down all those emotions and make sure he doesn't, spend too much energy. The other thing, is this a co-main event? Is this a 5-round? Is it a 3-round? That will change how this fight is probably fought. And so I want to see where they put this on the card. If it's going to end up being the headliner, if it ends up being a 5-round co-main event, because they're doing that as well sometimes. And Sean looks like he's physically strong as hell. And like you said, he's got good conditioning. He does have good conditioning. I was giving him a hard time. He's like, came at me hard in the paint after I said that about him. And we ended up having him on the show after that. And but he's a really, really good guy. Those Philadelphia boys, man, they're fucking just good people.
Studs.
They're good people, though.
Yeah, they are.
You got Felder, you got Eddie Alvarez, you got, Sean. I mean,
Pat Sabatini.
Sabatini.
He's a tough bastard.
You know what I mean? So they're all they're
That's
all
a 145-pound menace.
They're all just good guys.
Yep.
And so, so I think this is going to be a good fight. Don't sleep on this fight, you guys. Don't be like, oh, don't say too soon. It's going to be a boring fight. Don't sleep
This
on
one's supposedly going to be on the pay-per-view card, so it will be a 3-round fight. But
it will be a 3-round.
The next fight, this fight is supposedly headlining a fight night.
Okay.
Mackenzie Dern and Xiaonan, and it's going to be 5 rounds. That's what it's been reported.
Hey, anytime you want to put Mackenzie Dern as a main event, I'll watch. Oh, I mean, look, I've said this I think a couple of times. She has turned the corner since having her daughter.
Yeah,
like she has seems like she's become more focused. She seems like she has a purpose.
Everything.
She is dedicated to the craft now, not just being a jiu-jitsu player. She's working on the stand-up. She needs to loosen up a little bit more on the stand-up, open up the combinations, not just the same combination every single time. She does possess some power. She is fast. She's got a long reach and range when it comes to her striking. She's obviously, we don't have to say anything about her jiu-jitsu game. She's fucking absolutely fantastic on the ground.
It's all right.
She needs to work on her wrestling. She's having a hard time getting this stuff to the ground, especially as she gets to the top, the higher competition. So if she can work on that, tweak it a little bit. Like if I was her, I would do more of the jumping guard, pulling guard, maybe dropping on a leg and using those type of things to get to the ground until her wrestling gets a little bit better. But she needs to bring in or really find somebody that can dedicate time to helping her with her wrestling. Because your jiu-jitsu is phenomenal, but if you don't have wrestling in this day and age, it don't mean shit if you can't get the fight to the ground.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing.
You have an entire skill set that if the fight doesn't go into a certain aspect, you can't use. Mm-hmm. And the fight starting out isn't an aspect that you can't use it. You've got to manipulate the fight into being on the ground for you to now use all those great skills that she has. But I will give it to her. I think her coach selection and who she's been with Jason Perillo and her stand-up, I think he's done an outstanding job in getting her stand-up much tighter.
He doesn't get enough credit as a coach.
No, he's outstanding. Jason Perillo is one of the best coaches out there. I love the guy. He's, just outstanding with his people. He's got a lot of guys that, Bisping,
No, go back even further. BJ Penn.
Well, go back even further. Tito Ortiz. He's out of the.
I don't know if he did a good job with him. Tito's still struggling with the stand-up.
Tito had struggling with a lot of stand-up coaches.
Let's just skip to BJ Penn, okay? Because you're not helping the claim that he's a good coach with Tito Ortiz. BJ Penn.
Nah, Perillo's been with a lot. Now he's got Cheeto Vera, who's doing fantastic. Okay,
he had RDA for a bit.
Yeah. Oh, he had RDA for his championship run.
Yeah.
When RDA won the championship, that was Jason Perillo as the guy in his corner, and his stand-up became so much better. So I think you're right. Mm-hmm. She needs to dedicate just, bringing in someone that clicks with her style, though.
Yeah.
You can't – every wrestler is different. Every, person is, got their things that they're going to be good at, things that they're not. And so you've got to be able to, take what she's good with. I think, she's good at getting into the clinch, a lot of, upper body takedowns, some Greco-Roman wrestling, and a lot with, Henry Cejudo would be awesome with her, teaching her the inside trip that he uses and things like that. But I think this is a great matchup, one that I just want to see Mackenzie continue to progress, because I've seen her progressing. Yeah. I've seen her when all of a sudden she has the difficulty of getting someone to the ground, like she did with Marina Rodriguez. All of a sudden the fight becomes more difficult, and you can see where there's a lack of knowledge in how do I get past this.
Yep.
And that's just time. She's still young at this as far as how long she's been doing it.
Absolutely.
And so just give her time. She's going to be there. She's going to be someone that's knocking on the door quickly.
Yeah. She kind of already is. She's right there.
Oh,
She got to get over that hump. That Marina Rodriguez win would have put her there. But to be honest, it was probably a blessing in disguise because she's not ready yet.
Nope.
No,
I agree.
If you were to match her, is she at 115 right now or 25?
15.
She's at 15, right?
15.
Yeah, she's at 15 now. Because I remember she struggled to make the weight for a long time, so I wasn't sure if she ended up eventually. Yeah, so 15. Anyways, look, she's still young. She'll be around for a while. Thank goodness. Thank the Lord for all of us. We get to watch her fight for a while. So. Got to give her a two, man. She's a dog. Don't let the good looks fool you. She's a dog. Tough. She can get after it, man. She throws some dogs, and she's phenomenal on the ground. It's like watching Pablo Picasso paint fucking artwork. She's phenomenal on the ground.
Yep.
What else you got for us, Dave?
Paige VanZant has been announced for the BKFC London card, the MVP and Mike Perry.
Are they the main event, or are they just...
No, the MVP and Mike Perry's the main event.
MVP and Mike Perry's main event.
Thank goodness. No, I didn't know. I didn't look into it. I'm just like, hey.
I have no idea who Carissa Segala is.
I don't know either. I'm sorry, Carissa. Look, this is another female, though, like I said about with Mackenzie Dern. Don't let the good looks fool you. She throws down. She takes the shots. She delivers the shots. She's been coming up on the short end of the stick. She's a really nice person.
Yes.
I had only I'd met her in passing years, before and all around, and from the fights and stuff. But then I hung out with her and her husband after Austin's fight in Mohegan Sun. No, he was at the press table with us. No, he wasn't. Yeah, he didn't fight. He was at the desk with us.
Yes.
I had met him and we went out gambling. We had such a good time. We had so much fucking fun. We actually won money, which I think made it more fun.
That's why you had fun.
Yeah, but it was.
If you had lost
fun.
money, it would have been near as fun.
We had a great time, and she was fun to be around. Great conversation, great energy. Austin is just an absolute, just not only just a great person and a great fighter. He's just so fun to be around. Great energy. That's what you want to be around, people like that, and it's very infectious to be around people like that, and I love it. So, but I wish her luck. I have no idea who Segala is, so I'm not going to even talk on her. I have no idea, no clue. Maybe I'll do a little research and figure it out if we're going to talk. Because we're going to talk about this card, absolutely, because MVP's fighting Mike Perry. I did see the comments from Mike Perry. Basically said, "I'm going to walk you down. I'm gonna make you fight backwards."
That's
He's like,
right.
"I'm gonna chase you down and piece you up." And I was like, "Ooh, okay."
Well,
and you're gonna walk into a straight left and a straight jab and a straight this and a straight that, and
it's easy to say.
And yeah, he's gonna. I mean,
when you're getting hit, he can make it that way. He can sit there and he can try to come forward and maybe he can, but you're going to be eating shots to do it.
He said, "I'm gonna break your hand on my
forehead."
That's great. That's a total Mike Perry quote.
Dude, that's a great line.
Awesome.
I'm gonna break both your hands on my forehead.
Dink, dink. Yeah.
Yep.
This is possibly true, by the way.
Yeah.
This is possibly true. All right, what else you got?
All right, sticking with London. UFC London loses Darren Till due to an undisclosed injury, but gets Chris Curtis in his place against
the
Jack
action man. I love Chris Curtis.
John,
this is a guy that
this
steps
kid,
up.
this guy's he's fun.
Oh, he is.
He's fun. He's gonna bring the fight. He's gonna do what he can. He's gonna have to stop some takedowns, which he showed in his last fight. He's able to do. He's a phenomenal fighter, man. He's got big power in his hands. He's a little muscular for the weight class, like shorter in stature, but he's got a lot of muscles, got a lot of pop. But it seems to be working for him. The not cutting weight, as much, or not cutting as much weight as others.
Yep.
Seems to be working for him.
Dave, do me a favor. Pull up Curtis's record real quick. Because I'm going to sit here and be the negative Nancy for all the people out there that say stuff. Not Sean Brady's, Chris Curtis. Thank you very much. Okay. Go ahead and bring it up. Bring it up. I want to see his last couple of fights past the UFC.
Old people, when they get it.
Right there. Stop right there.
Old people don't have patience as they get older.
John's the one calling me this morning to get help with his computer, and he can't even know the patience for a web page to load.
All right, this is my point. Okay, here we have the action man, Chris Curtis here, and take a look at his record. Now his last loss was to Ray Cooper III in the PFL. Okay. Wow. And that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fights ago. But everyone back then said that dude sucks, right? And he sucked when he was fighting up in Lethbridge, Canada, and getting a win against Darren Smith. And he sucked through all these things, and now he's got 3 wins in the UFC. Phil Hawes, Brendan Allen, which was a great win, and against Vieira, unbelievable jiu-jitsu, but couldn't get the fight to the ground. And now all of a sudden, Chris Curtis is this amazing fighter. No, he's the same guy he was before. He's a tough son of a bitch that comes to fight every time. And yes, it doesn't matter if you're in the UFC or not. You can be a really good fighter. And he is. He's tough. He comes to fight. He creates problems. I love Chris Curtis. And look, he's going to give Hermansson some problems. In this fight, Hermansson definitely has a ground game that is capable of submitting Curtis Jackson. But the stand-up, he's not going to be able to hurt him that much in it. That's going to leave openings for Chris Curtis. It's a great matchup. I don't think that the fight got any easier for Jack Hermansson going from Darren Till to Chris Curtis. Things didn't get easier for him.
No, I don't think so either. I think the speed and the power, like Darren Till's, he's got speed. He's got the kicks. He's got the combinations, but he's easier to take down.
Easier to take down.
The shorter in stature of Chris Curtis, the explosiveness of Chris Curtis, and
physical strength of Chris Curtis.
The physical strength, but also the pop and the power that he possesses after stuffing the takedowns that he can deliver is going to give Hermansson some problems.
Yep.
Hermansson's going to have a hard time getting lowering his level and getting underneath Chris Curtis enough to get a couple takedowns. Now on the ground, it could be a different story.
Sure.
Can you get him there? That's the biggest problem. Biggest problem is, can you get him there?
And look, Hermansson's got good wrestling. It's not that he doesn't, but you've seen guys that have the ability to defend against that start to give him some problems, and you go, back to his last fight was against Strickland.
I was going to ask you.
Take a look. Wasn't able to take him down. Got pieced up on the feet, just consistently. So this is going to be a tough fight for him. This did not get any easier.
No. All right, next.
All right, we're going to wrap up on that one.
Thank you for bringing up that record there, Dave.
You got it, John.
We are?
Well, you got it, John.
Wait, I have, hold on. I have something I want to talk about real quick.
Let's
Dave.
go.
This is, I got a message from someone.
Josh in the comments, usual.
Which one are you talking about?
No, I got it in my DM. This guy, because I know you listen, because I know his name is Brent Evanovsky. Well, Brent, I want to read what you said to me, and I want to be able to go through. Can you pull up the 145-pound rankings? It says, the more I listen to you, the more I dislike you. Volkanovski versus Yair. Shut the fuck up. A reason you only have 96,000 followers with a blue check. Wake up, loser. Okay, very interesting.
I love people.
I know, but I want to break this down. It's so funny because I didn't realize that there was like a separate secret side page for messages that people that don't follow you. There's a separate like little DM area that I didn't even know of. Anyways, so you pull up the 145.
Guess what?
Rankings.
Hold on, before you go on.
Yeah.
I don't know about that either.
Yeah. I think Miss McCarthy knows about it for you.
She might.
All right. Look, Brent. Okay, I want to clarify this. Yair is fighting Brian Ortega, who is number 2. Okay, Max Holloway just lost to Volkanovski. Josh Emmett is right there. If Yair beats Brian Ortega, who else?
They're both at 3.
They're both right there. Who else is going to fight him? Yair has fought Max Holloway in a very good fight. Who else is going to fight him? Josh Emmett is not going to jump Yair. Maybe possibly, but I doubt it now that Uriah's come out and said that Josh had said this, wants to be released, all this other stuff. That doesn't help your cause. Okay? I don't care how you feel about Arnold Allen. He's number 5 or 6. He's number 5. He's tied for number 5. You have 2 guys at number 3, 2 guys at number 5. Great rankings, guys. Calvin Kattar, no, that's not going to happen. Arnold Allen, he's not going to jump the other 2 guys that win. So when I'm breaking this down for you, try to keep up, Brent, okay? Because I know I'm moving fast. Look, this is what I'm trying to say. Yair he's given him problems before in the past, but he will, I think if he beats Brian Ortega, knowing that Brian had such a great fight with Volk, had such a great fight with Max, if he beats Brian's a bigger name than who Josh Emmett just beat. Bottom line, Yair Rodriguez will potentially get the title shot if he beats Brian. If. That's a big if, by the way.
Yeah.
That is a big if. Brian Ortega is a fucking stud. So please don't send me messages about your gripe and about how I only have 96,000 followers. I kind of retired before social media actually became a thing, buddy. Okay, 'cause that's how old I am. So careful. I might be your dad. Calm down. Anyways, John knows what I'm talking about. Jeez, that's a great one. I love that. I had to do my own little fighting words for a split second.
I kind of like
Josh
it.
Thompson.
You guys like the fighting words. If you guys like the fighting words, we do this thing called 5 Rounds Main Event, and every once in a while we have a segment on there called Fighting Words, where we actually pick some comments where people talk back to us and talk trash to us, and we just answer them. People. We answer them politely or we answer them aggressively. But either way, we have fun with it. It's a fun segment. It's on our
mean tweets.
It is like mean tweets. It's But that's on our 5 rounds main event, and that is on our Clips channel, which is available. There's a link down below in this main channel you guys can check out, and that'll take you there. And check out that show. That's a great show that we do. And we just started it. It's got great new graphics and everything that Podcast Dave and Rebellion Arts worked with.
Rebellion Arts.
Or Rebel Lion.
Or Rebel Lion, but I think it's Rebellion Arts.
It is.
Who knows? I like
I
Rebel
don't know.
Lion,
I don't know. I kind of like Rebel
I like
Lion.
Rebel Lion. It's a play on words, I believe, is what Dave was saying.
Yes.
Look, if you guys like the shows, you guys like what we're doing, and if you guys want to try to support us, we really appreciate it. Go to weighinginpodcast.com, pick up some of our merch. We got sweatshirts, hoodies, long sleeves, short sleeves. Right now, we've got coffee mugs. We've got it all available to you guys. But the short sleeves right now are big sales. We also got the hashtag and still hindsight is 50/50, our Beast Mode shirt, and the new 5 rounds main event t-shirt is out. Check it all out at weighinginpodcast.com. Podcast Dave and Big John McCarthy, take us away.
Well, it's been 3 years for the Weighing In podcast, and we are only getting bigger and better. God bless you, Josh Thompson, for being so mean to Brent. That makes me feel kind of, feel good.
I had to end on a good note.
But I want you to do this. Since you were mean to Brent, I want you to go out, just do something good for somebody that you don't know today. Be kind to them. Be nice. For everyone out there, thanks for listening to us, and we will see you.